think it's been a year of highs and lows, to be fair. Uh, More kind of like internal highs and external lows. I think the last 3 months I've like had this approach to life a little bit more where I'm taking like continual risks every week or whatever, which I wasn't doing before. And I've like had some very tough weeks that have like put me into a character, like changed my character a little bit. I don't know if I told you, I had a week like 2 weeks ago where I went to the supermarket and both my cards didn't swipe because they're both minus. So I was there for 5 minutes trying to like figure out how I can like pay for that half a week's worth of food. And that's kind of like, I see that as Young's thing of like how your roots have to reach the bottom for your, was it for the, to get to heaven, your roots have to go down to hell basically. And in a way, like the whole kind of growth, like in this process, this stage of life, I have like my roots have gone down to hell a little bit. So yeah, I think I've had a lot of things that have built me. I think I'm definitely a much different person. I can be cold at times, maybe because there's just like so much going wrong in my head continuously, but I think that will continue to build me into something that I will be grateful for. I mean, my mentor said that like you don't realize the thing. He said he's like 24 right now. He said you don't realize how much the things that you're doing now you appreciate in 5 years' time. So that's just what I've got to stick to. I think something I've got to really try hard to navigate is that whilst I am still in this like grinding stage of working every day, every hour of the day some days, and having just a huge pile of stuff going on at once, and through being very like scarce of resources and stuff, I think I need to just keep my personality. And it reminds me, and the solution to that, what Chris Williamson said a couple of weeks back when we saw him. He said, "You are still in there." So I got to, I think I need to maintain my personality and express that through my passion still. Because I don't want to lose that in all the kind of chaos and uncertainty at the moment. So yeah, I've it's been a tough year, but I think I'm stronger as the result of it. That's how I'd say the year's gone.
Yeah, man, you don't want to get to a point where you just see yourself as a machine for results or a machine for progress, and that spontaneous part of your personality becomes less prominent. You know, you can't let the drill sergeant take over too much, because he will if you let him.
Yeah, that's what happened. I think that's what happened.
I hear that, man. I can relate to that for sure.
How about you?
Yeah, there's been a lot of changes this year. You know, a lot of cool experiences. You know, I now live outside London and study a different uni, and my lifestyle's so different to how it was January last year. But then that change means a lot of growth and a lot of progress and joy, and I get a lot of joy from that. You know, things aren't perfect, of course, but the way I've set my life up now is pretty good, man. It's just wild. You know, I'm very grateful, very, very grateful that I get to do what I do, and that will only continue as the future goes on. You know, and I'll have my complaints about, you know, a little bit lonely in the world and stuff like that, but apart from that, man, I get to play basketball and think about cool shit and talk about it. That's my life at 20 years old. You know, people at my age and our ancestors would be having to go and fight wild animals and hunt for food and find a water source and protect shelter from the winter elements and be battling and grappling with the forces of nature. You know, I just get annoyed when I don't go to bed on time. You know, it's just, when you put it in that context, it just, none of this feels that deep. You know, so it's been a wild year. It's been a whirlwind, but that's what your life should be, I think, especially when you're young. have an adventure. I think this has been the first year of my life where I can properly say I had an adventure. I followed a call to adventure. I didn't really know what was going to happen, but I followed it and I went into the unknown, and I've faced a lot of challenges and dealt with temptations and had some death and rebirth, and I'm going to continue to live in that cycle because that's where I found meaning.
On the loneliness point, is for me, that is the lack of people that I see in person, that like I have good friends in person, rather than I've got enough people kind of online and stuff, but the day-to-day people, like, that's where it gets lonely, I think. Is that similar for you?
I think living with friends was huge for me for that.
Right.
Living with people that are on the similar wavelength, so that the mundane things like cooking eggs for breakfast and doing the laundry and cleaning, doing the dishes, and like the meals you have in the evening time when everyone's in the house are just so much more enjoyable. I think there's something I found quite depressing when I lived at Exeter Uni Halls. The meals you'd have just on your own, and just the waking up alone, nobody's up in the hall, and you've got to make your breakfast, all that kind of stuff. I think we're built to live with people that are on our wavelength. And I think a part of it is also we're still in the process of figuring ourselves out, and we're not so established in ourselves that it's easy to find the people that get it. So maybe
we're rushing through it.
Yeah, maybe it's a natural process of growing up, man. When you're so secure in yourself and you know what you want, then you'll just float around in existence, and you'll attract those people along.
It's what the 20s are supposed to be for, and we've kind of been doing it since 18.
Experimentation.
To be honest.
Yeah, self-discovery, experimentation, adventure. That's it.
I'm going to ask you some of the questions on Chris Williamson's annual review. Yeah, I thought it was quite good. This one, I didn't really know how to answer, but it's good. Is there anything you are still doing that is no longer in alignment?
I still find myself in moments where I could just be a bit peaceful and just breathe and just be grounding in the present moment and practice mindfulness. In those moments where I could be doing that, it's so easy to just open up your phone, go on YouTube, watch a few YouTube shorts, start watching a video. And I think I struggle to really realize just how much of my attention gets pulled into these kind of things just on a daily basis, and how much residual attention I leave to shit that I really don't fucking care about, but I'm just filling space. And I don't do new things enough. I'm very good at sticking to and being disciplined to the things that matter to me. But there's an element of it where in 2025, every month I want to try something new. I want to go to a new debate club in London, go to a writers group, go and meet a new person, go on a date, just strike up a conversation with a stranger, like just expose myself to new shit, because you have to balance getting good at the stuff you already know, but also adding in the spontaneity and the new experiences.
That's kind of what I said for this other question of what do I think? No, what is productive that I don't realize? Yeah,
letting go and just like doing something, not knowing how it's going to turn out. It feels like you're going off the plan, but it's like you have to necessarily go out the plan to learn new shit.
And the opposite is, what do I think is productive that isn't? For me, it's checking social media, because even though that's like kind of one of my responsibilities, I still do it too much. I don't need to check every hour of the day.
No. Yeah, it's interesting.
What's you something that's you think is productive but isn't?
Yeah, the same. I mean, I think I don't know. It's a tough one. I think the point about the putting my attention to things I don't really care about when I actually deep it is unproductive stuff that I still do, but obviously I know that's not productive. I don't think that's productive. Maybe there's an element of the fact that I still have social media presence, like the short form content we've been putting out and stuff. I don't know whether that really aligns with me, but it's productive in a sense that it is forcing my content stuff to be more out in the world. Maybe that's something I'll review going into the next year and how I want to manage that. And I know that I'm not good enough at sort of posting new shit and giving new shit to be created. I think actually I try and do two. Actually, maybe this is a good one. Okay. What I think is productive but isn't is that I take on too much. So I'm trying to be a professional athlete and get a first at a uni degree and have a YouTube channel at the same time. That's not optimal. I think that's productive because it means that I have a lot going on, but it's probably not productive. I could probably do two of them at once very well. I could definitely get a first and be a professional athlete. And I could definitely get a first and have a successful YouTube channel. And I think I can definitely be a professional athlete and have a successful YouTube channel. But right now I'm trying to do all three. And as a consequence, I don't put enough time into YouTube as I'd like to. And I don't put enough time into uni as I'd like to, because I'm still trying to manage like my athletic engagements. So that's probably a good answer. Is I'm spinning 3 plates when I definitely better off spinning 2.
Mm. Knowing what you know now, what advice would you give to yourself 12 months ago? Psst, you probably still need to hear this now.
Play with life. Like, you don't have to be here, Joel. Like, no one's forcing you to get out of bed in the morning. If you wanted to, you could just end it all. It's quite a dark way of looking at things, but it's true. You don't have to do this. But there are people that you love, and there are things to do. There are experience to have. There are feelings to feel. So don't get so caught up. My sports psychologist has this phrase. He said, don't get so caught up in the minutiae. And what he means by that is the really small, minor details of things. How a particular basketball game goes. What this teammate thinks of my skills. The fact I got 6 hours sleep last night rather than 8. All these tiny, minor details in reality. We can get so caught up in them. And our happiness and our well-being can get so stuck on these minute details. When the reality is, this is a sick opportunity to just be alive and breathe and have experiences and listen to beautiful music and eat food and drink wine and be merry. And that's like advice I need now. I needed 12 months ago and will need in 12 months in the future.